You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my review for Uncharted. Now, before we get into this review, make sure to go ahead and click the subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. Uncharted is a 2022 action-adventure film directed by Ruben Fletcher, starring Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. It follows the story of Nathan Drake and his wisecracking partner, Victor Sully Sullivan. They embark on a dangerous mission to find the greatest treasure never found, while also possibly finding Nathan's long-lost brother in the process. So after a copious amount of delays, Uncharted is finally being released this weekend to theaters, and I, for one, was very excited to finally get to watch this film. Now, you may categorize me as somewhat of a Tom Holland fan. Yeah, I'm excited to see him in any and everything. Now, here's the disclaimer before we get into the actual review. I have never played any of the Uncharted games. So, this review is coming from the perspective of a new pair of fresh eyes. Someone who knows literally nothing about the Uncharted games. And in the end, that probably helped me because I enjoyed Uncharted. I thought this was quite a fun time at the movie theater. So, let's go ahead and kick things off with the positives. By far, the biggest positive of the film is Tom Holland. Now, I know, that probably sounds very biased. However, he just has this star quality charisma about him as Nathan Drake here in this film. The attitude, the swagger, the personality, all of it was so good. He keeps you extremely captivated. Holland gives you a great central character for this type of film. Plus, he obviously is great at a lot of the stunt work and the more physical aspects asked of him. He's really fun with the quips and the funny moments, and he sells action star really well. Tom Holland was wonderful. Surprisingly enough, I actually quite liked Mark Wahlberg here as well. That was the part of the equation I was very skeptical about heading into the film, but specifically, Holland and Wahlberg together have really good chemistry. They played off of each other very well. They had a nice bond in the film that really sold this type of relationship that is portrayed in the film. Wahlberg is actually quite funny in the film, and a lot of the jokes land just based off of their repertoire with one another. I also thought the action was quite fun. We have some pretty big, grand action set pieces, which vary in quality. We'll talk about those a little bit more specifically in the negatives. However, a lot of the more intimate action sets are quite fun. The adventure, the treasure hunt itself is a lot of fun to go on, and the story that we were following definitely kept me entertained. I was interested in seeing them go on this treasure hunt, and they do a nice enough job of setting up Nathan Drake's backstory, his relationship with his brother, to tie that in and really integrate it in what felt like an organic way to the story. So then, what doesn't work so well when it comes to Uncharted? Well, let's talk about those big action set pieces. Honestly, they were very hit or miss for me overall, mostly because the CGI in this film is not great. The big set that we've all seen in the trailers is Nathan Drake out of an airplane, like holding onto those crates. And the CG on that, it's like video game CGI from 10 years ago. They looked so rubbery and fake when they were out there on that. You knew you were looking at some CG abomination. But it does go into this cool, like, first person view from Nathan Drake that I thought was a lot of fun, very video game esque. However, even the CGI in a lot of the other spots just doesn't look very good. Then we get to the villains. Ooh, very, very bland. Antonio Banderas has a pretty small role, much smaller than I anticipated heading into the film, but he was certainly the most interesting of the villains. But our main villain in the film is so boring. She has no personality. She has no motivation, nothing going on beneath the surface. She is just your generic, bad, evil person. She looked great. The body was on point. She was selling the action, but woof, what a bland, boring character. The dialogue, particularly coming off of most everyone around Sully and Nathan, was not great. A lot of those acting performances around them also were a little bit spotty. And the pacing had slight problems. When we weren't in these fun action moments, we started to linger in weird lulls from time to time. And I think that's because pretty much whenever Sully and Nathan weren't on screen together, whenever they were either split up or we focused on anyone else in the cast, just wasn't interesting at all. But while the CGI was dodgy, I would be remiss to end this review without saying the view was quite nice. If you know, you know. So overall, Uncharted was a fun film. It is just a fun, pretty standard action adventure flick. It doesn't reinvent the genre. It doesn't do anything particularly amazing. However, Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg do plenty to carry this film and make it a fun time worth watching. Now, I don't know how close it sticks to the games. Like I said, I don't know any of the representation from the games being brought over to the film depictions. It feels as though maybe this would have been better just being a standalone new little action adventure film, but I will leave that up to the Uncharted video game fans to decide. My newbie perspective, I think this is a pretty fun time. Not perfect, but certainly not the disaster many of us were scared it was going to be. So if you're looking for just a fun, good time at the movie theaters this weekend, I say check out Uncharted. Give it a shot. So that is my review for Uncharted. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Uncharted? And are you a fan of the video game series? Let me know either in the comment section down below or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.